Hi guys, I wanted to come on before the natural light went down because I use natural light for my videos. I don't have any special lighting system or anything like that, but I kind of just wanted to come on and just speak on some frustrations I have been feeling lately. And I think the best way to tackle any type of obstacle or frustration is one, recognize it, identify it, and then work on ways and how to overcome it. Someone can't always be optimistic without addressing the negativity, if that makes any sense. The frustration I want to talk on today is about the recent things that have been going on with my eyesight. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, like during my videos, I always look kind of off skew from where the camera is, because with the type of eye condition I have, my central vision is not good. So I have to look to try to use my peripheral vision on my right eye to see shapes, colors, any texture, anything, to be able to, not bump into things or have a reference point of what I'm looking at. Sorry, my arm's hurting. The past 3 weeks, my vision has been getting a lot worse. That's affecting just my daily living. And I guess for someone, I'm 38 years old, and I was diagnosed with macular degeneration 2 years ago. When they first diagnosed me, my vision, I was like, okay, I still was able to see. But since then, I've been through many different treatments and physical therapy on learning certain things about how to do things in my life. And I guess what the most frustrating thing is that these things that I'm trying to reteach myself, how to navigate in my own home, how to navigate myself around objects in my own room, how to cook and prepare a meal, how just to check the mail in front of my house, just getting on the sidewalk and crossing the street, reading a book that I'm an avid reader. I love reading books, but just different things that I'm so used to doing with no afterthought, that just comes so easily to me, takes so much effort and a lot of time. And because of that extra effort and a lot of time, my anxiety rises, because you have this feeling of, okay, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. You're taking so long to do something so simple, and I put that pressure on myself, and then my anxiety rises. My anxiety in turn makes things worse, and it's just kind of like a vicious cycle. So for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I have been just dealing with a lot with what's going on with my sight. Like, if you look at my previous videos, I touched base on some tools I use to help me read, as well as, a little history about my diagnosis. But I just kind of want to get on, just say how frustrated I am, that I just feel like I just can't complete the simplest things. And my brain can walk through the steps of how to do it, but my body, without my eyesight, just has a really hard time translating that into a action. Like today, I made breakfast. Took me a lot longer than usual, and I burnt myself 2 times. Trying to something as simple as reconnecting my cell phone to our Wi-Fi, and my face is so close to the screen. I have a Samsung Note, and it's pretty big. It's a Note 3, and the font's pretty big on my phone, but I still had such a hard time looking at the network name, the IP address, trying to hurry up so that way I can access some information I needed, and that anxiety and that frustration turn into anger and sadness and then tears. And I'm just tired of crying. I'm tired of woe is me, and I'm tired of feeling sorry for myself. But I think with anything, anyone that loses something a big piece of their life, you're going to have to go through that. You're going to have to go through the periods of just crying because you're just sad. And you're going to have to go through the periods of being angry and mad because of the things that you can no longer do. I know eventually I'm going to have absolutely no sight. Now, what does that mean for me? And there's so many different definitions of what visual impairment versus blindness and all that stuff is. And I guess I'll go into that in a later video. I really don't want to go into that right now. But right now I consider myself visually impaired, legally blind. And basically what that means, I have some vision. I can see shadows and colors, but I'm not able to read or maneuver around certain things without certain aids. Like I need my visual aid cane. I need certain magnifiers to be able to do my job. And even then, my job is in front of a computer, and I find myself falling back on my memory of how to do things instead of actually maneuvering in my system to try to find things. So, I mean, I'm a huge advocate of change. I think you have to change to grow, especially in a company, but it's kind of a catch-22 with my condition. Yeah, everything that changes causes a new obstacle for me that I have to try to relearn. And that's even with trying to maneuver around your house, you know. People, I'm sure, oh, let's move to a bigger house, and you know, I obviously want to own a house one day and move as freely as I want to. But then I also have to be cautious about, okay, how big is it? How long is it going to take me to get comfortable and learn that space? Is it on a one-way street? Is it on a two-way street? Is there a bus line nearby? Is there a grocery store, a drugstore nearby? How long will it take me to learn the route? Are there sidewalks in that neighborhood? Is it on a busy street? So it's like something that came so simple before, because at one time when I was younger, I used to move as soon as my lease would get up every year. Now I have all these other check marks on my list that I have to go through to make sure it's an environment or a space that I feel that I can acclimate and adapt to. Same thing with work, you know. I've always been a go-getter and always was chasing, you know, the next thing. I always wanted to promote and go to the next level. And now I have to be cautious about, like, okay, how will people perceive me? How will people being perceived? Taking instruction from someone that's visually impaired, or maybe they may tag me disabled. How will my superiors and my upper management will see me fitting into a supervisorial roles? And sometimes I find myself taking myself out the picture so that way I don't have to have those type of uncomfortable conversations or uncomfortable confrontations, you know. Because that's one other frustration too, is that people have misconceptions. I'll give you 3 examples of, I mean, I'm actually very happy when people are curious and ask me questions, because it gives me, it tells me that person is truly interested and wants to know more, and instead of assuming something, they're asking that person that's going through it. So in those situations, I'm an open book. I want to talk about it. I want to be able to explain to someone that I interact with, work with, how it can be easier for us to email or whatever. But one day I was at work and someone told me, well, you don't look sick. Now, I don't know what the stereotypical look of a visual impaired or blind person is, but I'm here to kind of like dispel that. Just because someone is visually blind, and I have 30% of my vision, of my peripheral vision on my right eye, and I have absolutely no usable clear vision in my left eye. It's all just a big blur of light and mishmash of colors. And I'm gonna link a video below to show a young man that has the same visual perception as I do, so that we guys have an idea. My right eye, my central vision is basically, it's basically it's like I'm looking through a lens covered with Vaseline, which makes it really, really hard to see clearly without really concentrating on what I'm looking at. But my peripheral vision is no better. My peripheral vision is getting worse, it seems like, daily on my right eye. And I'm steadfastly holding on to that little bit of vision because I'm scared to death of when I lose it, what that will mean to me. But again, I'll go down that path later in a different video. But so when someone told me that, well, you don't look blind, I took offense from that, because it's like, okay, well, what does a blind person look like? What does a visually impaired person look like? Just because I don't have a physical mark to say something was wrong with me does not mean that I don't have a condition that I'm going through, that I have to process it internally. Now, I'm not saying that I want special treatment either, but I do want to make sure people understand that it may take me a little bit longer to do something as simple as pouring a cup of coffee. That may take you something like two seconds. Or I have like different tricks and things up my sleeve to know, okay, where's the coffee machine? How many steps is it from my desk? So, I mean, that kind of threw me off. Someone else told me that, well, I thought after your treatment you'll get your sight back. Well, the part of my name of my disease is degeneration. And unfortunately, at this time, there's no cure. It's degenerative. It's only going to get worse. Another thing that people are trying to wrap their mind around is that macular degeneration is a disease usually in someone that's a lot older than I, and also more prevalent in the Caucasian population. So I am a nominee. It's genetic for me. It just was in my bloodline, and I just happened to get it from all of my family. No one else has this type of disease, but it just came through on me later on in life. So always trying to feel like I'm in the 6th degree about, well, how you get it is typically, I don't know. It just happened. Let me see. I don't know. There's always so many things that, you know, people may say and not realize that they're coming off as accusatory or mean. But I feel like I'm always trying to defend not my impairment, but the reason why I may need to grab someone's arm, or you may have to talk a little bit slower. Just that empathy sometimes is missing from people around you that you may have daily interactions around. So I'm just frustrated. I'm just trying to deal with everything that I need to deal with, and I know I am, because I'm a fighter. I always have been. Nothing has ever kept me down. No matter what obstacle or anything I've gone through in my past, I always overcome it. And this is just another thing that's going to be in my belt, you know. It's going to make me and force me to search for other talents and excel at those, and leave some old talents behind, you know. And I'm okay with that, as long as I'm always continuing growing in the type of mind frame I'm in. But I just wanted to come on and just talk about a little bit of my frustrations. But I hope it wasn't too humbug. I guess that's the word I'm going to use since it's December. But I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye!